The Council of Seven Lights, by George W. Van Tassel. Publication date 1958. This book is within the public domain. Audiobook format by The Matrix Minds. The Table of Contents. Book Introduction. Chapter 1, The Missing Link. Chapter 2, Invisible Gears. Chapter 3, The Sons of God. Chapter 4, Trinity of Infinity. Chapter 5, Unseen Scales. Chapter 6, The Angels of Space. Chapter 7, Prodigal Mother. Chapter 8, Methuselah's Toy. Chapter 9, The Sword of Damocles. Chapter 10, The False Chariot. Welcome to Chapter 5, Unseen Scales. The accompanying drawing is to explain the one universal principle of life. This principle is standard on any planet in space, and in all life forms, whether insect, animal, bird, human, man or spirit. In the drawing you are looking at the cut ends of the negative B lines of light energy, of course greatly enlarged. They are traveling away from you and rotating in a counterclockwise direction. These are the female, receptive, negative polarity lines of light energy. At right angles, or 90 feet to the B lines of light energy, are the positive A lines, traveling from left to right and rotating in a clockwise direction. These two lines of light energy can only unite in birth or death. Birth by induction, and death by short-circuiting. God controls physical birth and death by allowing the rebirth of individuals through the living instruments of His choosing. Only when He removes His insulating qualities can a seed be born into another repetition of life progression. Only when you have lived His purpose for you, in each life grade, does He graduate you into the next grade. If your actions prove to Him that through violation of His infinite laws you'll not pass this grade, then you'll die physically, and your eternal, atomic cluster of consciousness is brought back through rebirth into the same grade in order to pass on to the next high grade. Rebirth into the same grade, because of failure to pass it, is the only time that the so-called reincarnation takes place. Illustration here: when you were created as man in God's image, you were made an atom of matter, charged with opposite polarities in your proton-electron individuality. You were given individual motion. The space within your electron orbit shell boundary was endowed by the creative spirit with His unseen intelligence. As you progressed through the mobile highways of light energy, you encountered the experience of meeting other atoms of different elements of matter. With each new experience you added another atom to your consciousness. Soon the consciousness began to increase in size, composed of many atoms of different experiences and of different elements. Your consciousness is composed of the same number of atoms as the number of experiences you have had since your creation as an individual. Experience is recorded in the consciousness, and in consciousness is the eternal record of your knowing. Education and learning are recorded in the brain and can only be used in this mortal grade of life. When the brain is buried with the body, all the learning and intellectual education ends, unless it has been applied through experience. To reach the true intelligence of your many experiences and permanent knowledge requires going within. Through meditation you can become aware of your consciousness and unseen intelligence you accumulate in the past. The largest portion of your original atom creation was the space within the shell boundary. This space is, was, and will always be the unseen portion of your part of the Supreme Intelligence. As you travel through the maze of lifelines you often encounter resistance, set up by those who think they are going in the right direction and that you should conform to the direction of travel. But each was given the individual right to choose his direction. Scientifically, the correct course is at 45 feet to the lines of light, and in a progressive spiral into finer frequencies of light. This maintains the balance between the positive and negative lines of light energy. Every body that interrupts the lines of force will establish a field around itself. Stationary bodies such as trees, rocks, or mountains establish fields the same as atoms, planets or suns. On a surface of negative polarity, the height of every species is established by the field around it, therefore vegetation and trees grow to a common species average. The field set up in a tree is such that the lines of force passing through the tree establish a vortex in its body. This vortex starts at the surface of the ground. Sap does not only go up a tree, but it goes around in a spiral as it goes up. The shape of each plant, or stationary form of life, is established by the boundaries of its vortex or its field, or its aura. Everything everywhere is encompassed in such an auric field. In life that moves, such as animals, the soul force in the body establishes form from the central intelligent master cell. This frequency of the animals is much lower than the human form, of course. The animal body of humans is the manifested filler, composed of inert matter, that is required in the frequency upon the Earth's surface. The soul force is distributed through the inert matter by the bloodstream. The man-body of reality establishes the field. In climbing a hill, you have to push the vortex upward. It is much easier for some people to so climb than others. This is because the polarity balance is nearer to neutrality. If the physical, negative vortex, surrounded by the aura, reaches a balance between what we term spirit and the physical, that person can climb a hill without effort, because it is not required that he push the inert matter upward in defiance of the laws of gravity. The human vortices also start and end at the surface of the ground. In man, balance is achieved above the Earth's surface. The negative vortex has its apex downward, at the feet. The positive vortex of the real body has its apex upward, above the head. When the balance between the physical reflection and the real body, or the consciousness of your being, reaches a state of equilibrium, these vortices will be of the same length, the same diameter, and the same speed of rotation. You can levitate yourself with the forces established at a 0 point between these two opposing polarities. Through these vortices, and with them, you can establish a field of protection around you. Not necessarily by willful direction, but by the actions you manifest. If your thought is good, your actions are of a giving nature. If you are concerned with the welfare of others, you automatically establish a field of protection around you, because the universal mind compensates directly and equally for every thought and action. The zero balance between the physical vortex and the vortex of the real, conscious, everlasting you is difficult to hold. You may be unbalanced slightly in one direction or the other, in one belief or the other, in the manifested actions you perform. The purpose in your being on the surface of the planet is to bring about a balance. First, in your own control, and next, a balance between each of you, an understanding, a compassion, a love that is not expressed in words. This balance cannot be maintained mechanically, for you don't know which vortex to increase or decrease, but by following the basic principle of the Golden Rule. By doing all things in moderation, you will arrive at a point of equilibrium where you'll be able to know which side of zero you must bring up or down. When you reach a state of zero polarity between your individual vortices, you are at one with the infinite mind. You can know anything, you can see anything, and you can be anything of your own choice, so long as you maintain that balance. If you associate closely with people, these vortices can leak, thereby causing you to acquire disease or character conditions of ones you associate with. This is also responsible for what we call love. Not the real love, but the physical attraction of one for another, oftentimes of one sex for the same sex. If one has a predominantly negative, physical vortex and another has a predominantly spiritual vortex, these two vortices are attracted to each other. This is not the condition of love. It is a condition of mutual attraction by two people who may seem to be entirely opposite in every other respect. Someone at a distance from you cannot affect you, but in close association you will assimilate characteristics of another person. These are natural things, because nature wants to balance everything. The spiritual person is attracted to the predominant materialist and vice versa. The leakage of vortices is something you should watch for. You can assimilate character, understanding, and love by association with people who demonstrate these characteristics. Therefore you should try to associate with these types of people. The vortex of the human physical body will also cause people to be repelled. Oftentimes you'll meet one whom you immediately dislike intensely. This is not a condition of knowing the other person, it is a natural condition of polarities repelling each other. These things are beyond the scale of records, as far as individuals go. It is not possible to compute and understand the vortices of all individuals. Individually, however, you can try to understand your own and the effects of the vortices of other people upon you. But remember, one can be close to you and discharge your vortex by an opposite charge, thereby causing you to feel physically tired and drained of life. Study your friends at a safe distance, about 6 feet, before you associate closer, or you may discover what you term an enemy in the friendship you thought was yours. Oh man, my light is not from the victor, nor for the one who falls in defeat. My light is to the one who gains understanding of my ways. My arms are not extended either to the right or the left, but are centered to balance the living individual parts of my being. Though forces may oppose your every move, my strength lies in the power to meet the opposition. Though evil may tempt you, my light is brightest when the evil is overcome. For evil is not of my creation, O man. Evil is brought about by those who falter on the way to me. Never, never in all my eternity shall man control the paths to me. The paths are my ways, and man can only travel on my paths. In all my doings I have brought about a pattern of progression. None can turn about my works, none can interrupt my way. Those who follow in the darkness only trick themselves. Stand within the light of me, for I am light of the O man, and I can only shine when you have made the way and progress of my doing. Lean not upon another, only accept thy brother as one to help one to assist along the way, that unity in numbers may bring about progress in my infinite light. Fear not, fear not. There is no fear within my being of you. Fear is only added by the things you do that are not within the pattern of my ways. Reach within, I am there. None can scare you when you find the me in me. Stand upright. Death is only that which adds to those who have performed the grade. Fear no evil, stand within my light. Feel my living light within you. Know that I am there throughout eternity. End of chapter.